I actually I haven't. Hold on. Okay, wait.
Okay. It's gonna fall.
We're
Stick
good.
it to a string.
We're good. We're doing good. We're doing okay. Yeah, that's what I normally do. Like, mine's gonna totally, at some point, just end up in here, and it's gonna be fine.
There we go. I mean, it worked earlier.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We'll work through this. We're doing
Okay.
great. But guys, F1 video. So, this might seem a bit weird. Why are we posting F1 on a Monday? Well, we decided we were gonna do something different this week. So our main episode will be out on Wednesday, rather than, what you're watching right now. So this is F1, I promise. Our initial reactions, so literally the race finished like 2 hours ago. So the reactions are fresh. They're here, and I really hope you all enjoy this. You know what? I'm not gonna do another intro.
Just use the one we just did.
Yeah. So this was I feel like it was very chaotic.
It was. Every time I looked at the screen, because I was multitasking, I'd be like, wait, what, how? And then, like, the next second, I'd be like, what? Come on. Like, it was a very all over the place race.
Yeah, it just there was see, I just don't know even how to describe it. Like, I know Jeddah is known for overtaking and like being fast and whatnot, but honestly, I was not ready for this race to go the way that it did. Let's put it that way.
I mean, honestly, I don't know what to say because well, I don't know. All I have to say is good job predicting the race this week, because came out of nowhere.
I told you I went with my gut, and I just had to put Charles on the podium.
You know, and I respect that. You did really well. And I have to give the credit to you. I don't think I got any points at all.
No, you did, because you got Oscar.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I couldn't remember if I added him or not. That's where my mind is mentally. But yeah, no, it popped off. I did not. Honestly, I feel like I would have if the quali ended differently. If I done better. I wouldn't say I would have got it right, but I think I would have done better with predictions, but qualifying kind of.
Mercedes just looked like they were just lacking. I don't think that they had a great strategy call to begin with. But I was surprised that Charles was able to maintain that, and that they weren't able to find this pace in qualifying. I just don't, it doesn't make sense. But like, I think everyone seemed to struggle with the dirty air today. And the clean air definitely made a difference for the most part, unless you were on like, I don't know, 35 lap old hard tires. Not saying, just saying, but yeah. So starting off in FP1, we have Pierre topping the times in the tractor that is an Alpine, followed by Lando and Charles. I don't really think that there was anything that notable about FP1 that I can remember. I don't think anyone went off. No big collision. FP2, Lando at the top, followed by Oscar and Max. This was the one where Yuki had his crash, yes? Where he just brushed the outside of that one corner? Inside? Because they're going this way.
I think so.
Yeah, And then he was so tentative in FP3 about going around that corner. Or was it, did he get it in Q3? I mean, not Q3, FP3. I can't
I don't know.
remember if
Honestly, I don't remember.
it was probably
'Cause
FP2 because they were talking about breaking curfew and then they didn't end up having to do that. I felt bad for Yuki because it looked like he was actually putting in a good lap time on that. But, you know, it is what it is. The mechanics were able to repair his car, so nothing much there. Then in FP3, we had Lando, then Oscar, and then George. Again, nothing too noticeable that happened. It was just kind of regular FP3. And then on to qualifying, we had Max on pole. He pulled out a super lap. I don't know
yeah,
where he pulled this out of, but he did get a tow from Yuki, so that kind of played a role in this. And then Oscar was 10 hundredths behind him.
yeah,
And the first lap that they did in Q3 was it? Well, you know, Oscar said it, then Lando crashed, and then Max went after the red flag was cleared. Oscar stayed in the pits. But they were separated by 1,000th,
yeah,
and it was
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, this is gonna go crazy. And then George, with his lap, he was pretty close there until, you know, whatever Oscar and Max pulled out of their bag of tricks.
You're
George.
just missing George.
Yeah.
It's
Mr.
fine. You guys know what I
Consistency,
mean.
whatever.
You know what we mean.
But as I did say, Lando did crash. He was on a push lap and he did crash. So unfortunately, I believe that they did end up maybe breaking curfew to get the car ready because it was a pretty decent hit there. He took
Yeah.
on a lot of new what's the word I'm looking for here? Components.
Equipment.
Okay, yep, that works too. To his car. So I believe that they broke curfew, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So maybe they didn't. But I saw the list of components that he was adding to his car, and it was like, great. But yeah,
Lando and Oscar were on different strategies, hard versus medium tires. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that they were doing two different strategies, but I don't know. I'm so torn about it's like a house divided with them. And like you want both of them to win, but it's also like
they
at the end of
can't
the
both
day, they
win.
can't both win. It's the one
Yeah,
downside about being a McLaren fan.
I will say I do think it kind of played into their favor, starting Lando on the hard, knowing that that was what they were going to move Oscar to, and seeing how Lando's tires held up, knowing that he had the pace to continue the race. And so I think that kind of played into their hands there. But when they switched Lando over to the medium, he was very fast. So
Yeah,
honestly, I think that either like anyone could have started on the hard and then gone to the mediums,
yeah,
but I don't know, it was just very interesting to see because I thought surely with both of them in the top 10, they would run similar strategies, but that didn't happen. So,
definitely an interesting race. And then we have turn one, Max versus Oscar. Max got a 5-second penalty because it was the first.
so the reason
Yeah,
they would normally do a 10-second penalty for that, and I'm seeing still divided opinions on social media. My take is that, you know, I mean, you can tell by my shirt, I'm a little bit biased on this, but I do believe it was a 5 second. 5 seconds is fair.
yeah,
He definitely shouldn't have like gotten away with like a fine or anything because I feel like Oscar was in front going down to turn one and into the apex, and Max didn't give him any room, so he was just like, well, I'm gonna go wide. But the thing that
hmm
really helped to nail it was that Oscar did stay on track to
yeah,
prove that, you know, he had room to stay on track, and Max went wide and still kept the position. So that's what kind of earned him the penalty. Maybe if he had given the place to Oscar rather than continuing his advancement in first,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have gotten it, but you know how Max races, and that just wouldn't
Yeah.
be obtainable at all. He's gonna hold it, and then until the stewards make a decision, he's gonna just race.
Definitely Max style. And then you have Yuki and Pierre's collision causing a safety car. I missed this, and I meant to go rewatch it, but y'all, I was scarfing down some Easter lunch, okay?
I mean, I did also send it to you,
You did?
but we won't.
Was that on Instagram? I've been trying to
No, I'm
catch up.
pretty sure I sent it to you in a tweet. But yeah, I mean, there was nothing that you could do. It was just a racing incident. It was literally seconds after Max and Oscar. And the stewards heard from both drivers after the race, and they were both like, this is just a racing incident. There was no intention to purposely take someone out there or not give room. It was ruled as a racing incident, no penalties on either side.
Sorry, I just sent it to you. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I feel bad for Yuki. I wonder how that conversation went, because
Ooh,
mhm.
we will have to talk about this because
Yes. Yes, I
I
just
saw
found some
stuff.
tea. Y'all are gonna hear what I just sent her, don't worry. It'll just be a little bit later. The undercut on the pit stop for Oscar worked. There we go.
Yes, yes. So they actually did try and undercut for once. For once, we had a good strategy. For once, we had a good strategy here, boys. I really enjoyed that because I didn't feel like, I was panicking the entire race. Like, what are we gonna do? This strategy sucks. Why are we screwing ourselves over? That didn't happen. I felt like we actually had a good strategies this week, so I'm pleased with that. Max had started pulling away from Oscar towards the end of their stint with the medium tires because I don't know, Oscar's was just so grained through that he just couldn't keep up. So they forced Max's hand to use his pit stop, and it worked for Oscar. He came out ahead of Max. Unfortunately, it did not work for George, but it worked for Oscar.
Charles went long on medium tires. I saw this and I was getting flashbacks from last year where we had some people go very long on some tires. And I mean, if it worked, it worked. I mean, do what you gotta do. I ain't gonna stop you.
Yeah, at that point of the race, I was texting with Hamith, and I was like, yo, I could really go for a safety car right now because Charles is in first, Lando's in second, and Oscar's in third. Like, I could go for a safety car right now. Can someone just go into a wall? And then what happened was Fernando and Gabby, there was another car involved, but I can't remember who it was, but they made a pass on Gabby, and then Gabby moved. It was Hajar, I think. Hajar or Liam. And so Gabby got out of the way, moving off the racing line, but then he didn't realize Fernando was behind him either, so they touched tires. I thought Fernando was gonna spin out, but he didn't. And I was like, dang it, there was my chance for the safety car.
Didn't you text me that and was like, pit stop, please? I could really use one.
Yeah, I could really go for that safety car right now.
Right, right. You know, it is what it is. And then we have 14 laps with 5-second gaps, both Max to Oscar and Lando to Charles. I was praying so hard for Lando to make up that 5-second gap.
To Lando's credit, he did for the most part. It was a nice P4, a nice recovery drive yet again. But I was like, I don't know, this just seems a little advantageous. I don't think, unless like you're on a soft tire, I don't think you're gonna put in the lap times that you need to in order to get this. And I was proven right. But my one thing was, I thought surely with Lando coming off of the hard tires that they would think about putting him on a soft. That didn't happen. They put him on the medium. I mean, he was still pretty quick, but 15 laps for the last 15 laps, they could have put him on a soft? I don't know.
That was, yeah. No, I get that. Lando was investigated for going over the pit lane line, but didn't get a penalty for it.
Yeah, so there was, I don't even know which line that they were investigating, because clearly coming in, he locked up his one front tire, and it didn't look like he was gonna get a thing for speeding in the pit lane. But he was able to get that under control, and he didn't. But they were looking at him crossing over the line too early, which they've been very strict about this all weekend. Like, Jack got a couple reprimands for it, other drivers did as well. But yeah, I was like, he's not near the line. Which line are we investigating? And then we looked at him leaving, and it still didn't look like that. And I was like, okay, well then what's there to, I
Yeah,
don't know.
to
It was,
investigate.
but then they were like, yeah, no, never mind. No further investigation needed. He's fine. He's okay. I mean, I guess people just like calling Lando out for his pit lane stuff.
They're always finding something to criticize Lando about because they're butthurt that Lando's doing better than Max half the time. Or
Yeah,
anyone.
but
They're just butthurt that Lando's just doing okay.
sorry,
I feel like
there's something that I want to make a point about. But
I
yeah, go ahead.
wouldn't say that, but like a lot of times when I'm just like scrolling through social media, it's like people just and I saw one about someone wishing like death upon him, and I'm like, why are we doing that to people? Like, I think they wish that he would like crash. Like, was it Jules? And I was like, that's crazy. Like, why?
Why
There's
would you
no need
do
for that.
that?
No, I'm all for like a little hit on the wall. Let's get some points knocked out. Like
Yeah,
all
let's
that.
get
Let's
that 10-second penalty. But
yeah,
like,
not death. Never death. If y'all are doing that, stop it. Please.
crazy? I don't understand. And like, I don't know, I felt like a big point was the fastest driver versus the fastest car. Like, it's not just about that stuff. We don't need that agenda being pushed.
No.
Like, I felt like
Respect
that
the
was
drivers.
so heavily pushed this week, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
There's no need for
give him
that.
a chance.
Right?
Like, this happened with Max when he crashed out in Jeddah in qualifying, and he still won the world championship that year. It's fine.
Yeah.
We have time.
Yeah.
Plenty of races. This is only, what, race 5 or 6? Like,
It's only
chill
April.
out.
Give them a second. Like, let's think before we say things, and let's just give the drivers a chance to prove themselves. It's literally only April. So, speaking of penalties, we have Liam's 10-second penalty, which,
That one was warranted.
yes, it was.
He did what Max did, and doing that well into a race, you know you're gonna get the 10-second penalty. Like,
Yeah.
you need to stay on track at that point.
Yeah, so Max is not saying anything in post-race interviews about the FIA point deduction and race bans due to the fact that
Well,
well,
criticizing
not
the
like that.
FIA.
Yeah, they're not criticizing because they can get race bans and all that kind of stuff.
And we already know that Max has 8 points on his license, so
Yeah.
4 more would get him a race ban, which, I mean, Red Bull seemed to not want, because even on the radio during the race, GP told Max, all right, that's enough, no more radio.
Yeah.
So you already know that Max was gonna say something probably really out of pocket, and
Yeah.
it would not have
Just
gone
like,
over
stop.
well for him.
Stop before you say anything else.
Max was very much, I don't know, I've never seen him behave in this sort of manner, because even
Yeah.
during the podium, all he did was just
drink
sip.
it and yeah.
He was just sipping. He didn't want to spray, didn't do anything. And even in the cool down room, he was not very willing to talk with Charles and Oscar. But after the race, literally as they were jumping out of their car, he seemed willing to talk to Charles. But then that like stopped after a certain point. And then he just like closed himself off. And especially, I've seen multiple of his interviews And he's like, "No, I don't wanna talk about it. Move on." And
He
it's just like,
seems
"Oh, wow.
he
Never
definitely
seen you."
seems it definitely seems like he got told, "Don't say anything,"
Yeah.
because if you do and you get that race ban, that could be bad for us or something. Like, something has happened where he's like, "You just can't talk anymore, like, you're done." And that's sad because, like, that's not Max. Like, let's be real here. I'm kinda missing the actual Max, like,
Yeah.
like, his little attitude. Like, I don't know. I'm definitely interested to see how he does the next race and if he is still very closed off and polite in a way.
The fact that he told Crofty to focus on reporting and he'll focus on driving, I think that says a lot.
Yeah, definitely does. It's what it is. Now to the race results. We have Austin first, Max in second, and Charles in third. It is what it is.
Yep,
Slay
yep,
for Oscar.
that's it.
Yeah, there's not much to it.
It wasn't like a dominating win for Oscar either. I
No,
mean,
not really.
honestly, I think a few more laps Max could have caught him. Glad we didn't have that though,
Yes,
for once.
very, very happy on that part. And then in fourth we have Lando, and then we have George, Kimmy, Lewis, Carlos, and Alex, and then we have Isaac, Fernando, Liam, Ali, Esteban, Nico, Lance, Jack, Gabriel, and then we have our DNFs, which were Yuki and Pierre, which was the collision on turn one. That one. And then here are our standings. All I have to say is McLaren is really doing great. Like, they are doing so good. McLaren has 188. Mercedes has 111. Red Bull has 89. Ferrari has 78. Williams has 25. Good for them. Haas has 20, and then Aston Martin has 10. Racing Bulls has 8, and Alpine and Sauber have 6. So at least we've got some points on the board for some of these teams.
We didn't forget to say Haas this week.
Yes.
And Williams jumped Haas with their
Yes.
double point finish today. So hats off to Williams.
Yes, Carlos, Alex, congrats. And then we have our driver standings. Now, this a big jump. Well, it's not a big jump, but it's a pretty interesting jump. We have yeah, I mean it's a cool jump for him. So Oscar has jumped Lando, and he is now on the top with 99 points. So congrats to Oscar. And then we have Lando with 89 points. So our McLaren boys are topping off the driver standings. And I'm pretty sure this season, if anything, it's going to be kind of a game of
Very much so.
yes. So for my fellow McLaren fans, excited but stressed. Then we have Max in third, George in fourth. Well, Max with 87, George with 73, Charles with 47, Kimmy with 38, Lewis with 31, Alex with 18, Simon with 14, and Lance with 10. So yeah.
AKA no one below, well, I mean, the bottom two didn't get any points this week, so they're on the same number of points.
Just go back and watch our last video. I think we said it in that one. If not, you have the F1 app. Just go look. Save you time. So here's our leaderboard.
We don't have to do this. We'll
No?
save it for next episode, and we will open with that because we don't have a race week this week. So our video for next week will be a preview of Miami.
My first ever race I watched.
So,
My birthday month.
we could be on for a very, very intriguing next
Yes.
episode.
Yeah.
And I have a couple dates in mind to remember for this, so we will have to talk about that in that episode. So, post notifications. But yes, we will do our podiums next
Yes.
episode, so stay on the lookout for that. We can't give you too much in this episode, or else it's just like, I gotta keep watching for this. but we're gonna use it to open our next video, and I think it will be perfect to open our next video because there's gonna be a lot that's gonna come out in between the time that we post this video and our next F1 video.
Oh, yeah. Gee. So yeah, I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, please like the video. Please, please,
Smash that like button.
please.
Ew, that was cringy.
Just like the video. That's all we're asking.
And subscribe. That's all. That's
Yeah.
really all we're asking.
Yeah, literally, that's it. We'll have some links in the description you can check out. But really, we just want you to subscribe and watch our videos because it means a lot to us. And we already mentioned post notifications, so you don't miss any of our other videos. So yeah, I hope you guys liked the video.